All right. I want to be respectful of people's time, and I appreciate those who have joined us on the call. I am Nancy Verdun. I'm with the Central Jersey SCORE chapter, and I'm a volunteer mentor, and I work with our webinar committee. And today we are hosting Which is Better for My Business, a 1099 or W-2 employee.
Okay, Ms. Sharon, take it away.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much, SCORE, to Nancy and Suzanne. You're very special to us and to me, and I appreciate the time that you're spending. I'm in the business over 30 or 35 years with payroll, work for big companies like ADP, and Paychex now work for Payday as a sales consultant. So I've learned a lot, especially in New Jersey, and what's going on in New Jersey with the Department of Labor. 1099s are the most, and W-2s are the hardest thing to talk about for new owners or existing owners with their business. I get a lot of my business from the CPA community. Usually they're in lockdown and they don't come back until April 18th. But guess what? I must have got 10 calls this month with clients that think they should be a 1099 and they're not. And the Department of Labor on one of them was a media consultant. And she made a lot of money and she did not. She listed herself as a 1099 and she paid an exorbitant amount of money. And she lives in Philadelphia but works in New Jersey. And there's tax implications. So let me start from the beginning. I'll explain to you what the difference is on my first slide, slide number 2, Suzanne. What's the difference between a 1099 and a W-2? You got it?
Yep,
No.
it's there.
Okay. The 1099 is workers that are self-employed or an independent contractor and have a federal ID. These workers receive a 1099 so they report their income on their tax returns. The W-2 workers are known as employees that receive from their company a W-2. When you have a W-2, 3 things happen. We have to pay taxes, Social Security, Medicare, New Jersey State, New Jersey Unemployment, Social Security, employee, employer, federal as well. And then there are other things involved. When you hire an employee in the state of New Jersey and every state in the United States, you have to worry about workers' comp. You need to be insured. Here's one thing that I've learned, and lately it's coming up all the time. So when you have an employee and you're starting your business or you have your business and you're in growth mode, I'm working from home and so many people throughout the United States is working from home. You still need, if you own your own business and you have an employee or more, you need workers' comp. And workers' comp is very interesting. If you're at home and not going out, there are certain rates. So in the state of New Jersey, everyone, it's the same rate. If you're an electrician, there's a certain rate. If you're doing high wire things, there's a rate. If you're an administrator, there is a rate. And once you get workers' comp, you could pay it each month or you could pay it during the year. But it's very, very important. Once you have that, there's also pre-tax that an employer can offer 401k, health benefits, and insurance. Go on to slide 3, please. You're on 3? 3. Okay. 1099s are hire contractors. So let me give you something that I just pulled up. It's difficult to decide which employees are entitled to overtime and which are not. Those classifications are commonly referred as exempt employees or not exempt. There are a dozen exemptions. Most common are the white collar exemptions for executives, administrators. If you misclassify an employee as exempt from minimum wage and overtime, you sometimes are unlikely underpaying, and the Department of Labor calls that a wage theft, and the employee is entitled to overtime. So you have to be very careful. If they're working 40 hours, after the 40th hour, that you must pay overtime. There's been class action suits on this, and it's really important. And I work with a lot of attorneys and CPAs, and the guidelines are very, very important. So if you have a beauty salon and you have people cutting hair and they are a 1099 and you're not giving them any direction at all, they are considered a 1099. For example, if you have a delivery driver that uses a company car, he is an employee. So it's very tricky on this. So you really have to look when someone is a 1099. A 1099 gets no help from the owner, no direction. If you're giving employees direction, they are not considered a 1099. And I must have had this month so many clients misclassifying, and the state of New Jersey is always looking for money, and we love New Jersey. So what's happening, before they used to go to the Jersey Shore, because the Jersey Shore would have people in young children from college in Europe, and they would have visas. Well, since COVID, they had that problem. So sometimes they go door to door, and all of a sudden they look and say, do you have payroll? And they say no. And it's a little ice cream store, and the ice cream store has 2 employees and they're giving cash. This is how you get in trouble. It's happening all over. The other thing is, if you are an owner and you are an LLC, you do not take out salary. So I've had CPAs telling me, I want to give the owner, I'm changing the classification. So you could be an LLC, you could be an S Corp, or you could be a corporation. Corporation pays employees and yourself. An S Corp can pay yourself as an employee, but you have to make sure that the CPA is doing it correctly. Now, W-2s are employees, W-2s can be employees working remotely at all, but misclassifications are penalties. And once they start, it never ends, and they start auditing to you all the time. So going with a payroll service, and I'm not pushing mine, but going with a payroll service and doing it correctly. So I had someone in Wayne, New Jersey that wanted to put 2 employees on his payroll and 2 employees with a TIN number. Now, a TIN number means they come from another country and they haven't got Social Security yet. You cannot hire, no one can pay 10 people. They're considered 1099s, but they're considered nothing. And I'm letting you know that I've been seeing that a lot as well. Next slide, please. So the employer needs to give their employees a W-4. So when you hire someone, you have to give someone a W-4, put down their marital status, their dependents, and then you need an I-9, and it's on the New Jersey website. And one thing you need to do is, there's a left side and there's a right side. On the left side, it will have a driver's license, a Social Security, or a passport, or other information. Bigger companies, I would say 25 or 50 employees, require drug testing, and larger companies do employee handbooks. And those benefits usually start 30 to 90 days later with a 401k or health insurance. As I said before, companies need to have workers' comp insurance for all employees. You can pay employees weekly, bi-weekly. Hourly employees in the state of New Jersey need to be paid weekly or bi-weekly, semi-monthly, and monthly are for salary employees. Also, we sometimes have companies doing quarterly payrolls and then pay the taxes. What questions does anyone have for me?
We don't have any yet in the chat.
Okay, any questions you have? Could I hear from somebody? I can't hear you.
Suzanne, you're on mute.
Yeah, Suzanne, you're on mute.
Sorry, I have a question. I'm a small business owner and I get paid by the companies that I work for as a 1099. And I use my social security number. I don't use a different federal tax ID number. And you said in your
Okay.
first slide there that you have to have a federal tax ID number.
Right, that's how working for the two large companies and Payday, that's what we require. If someone's a 1099, we don't use their social security, use a federal ID number. Now you can check with your accountant on that, but all the service bureaus that I've worked for and that I'm working for now require for a 1099 to have a federal ID number. But I'm not saying, Suzanne, we're right or you're right. It's up to the CPA on that.
Okay.
That's a good question. Any other
So when you
questions?
have, let me ask another one then. When you have W-2 employees, for the business owner, there are a lot of additional taxes, deductions, and things that you have to do, where when you have a 1099, like you said, one of the big things I didn't know was that you're not allowed really to give any benefits, a car, expenses, or stuff like that to anybody that is a 1099.
That is correct. No benefits at all. That's only for an employee. Someone in the chat just wrote something. So do I hit the chat or do you?
No, we'll do it. Go ahead, Nancy.
Yeah, Joan is asking or saying, I'm a single person LLC, disregarded entity. I do not have work comp, but if I brought on a 1099 person, would I need work comp for me and them?
No, only if you are W-2. An LLC, you're not on payroll. If you want to put employees on payroll, you need workers' comp. Good question.
Mm.
And I think with workers' comp, it can be just employees and not cover the owner.
Right, but you
You have
need
that option.
Right, you have two things. You need workers' comp, that's for the employees. That really protects you and your business, that you don't get sued. But you need business insurance that is regardless. For someone, if you're in a place and someone trips and falls, a client, you need regular insurance. And your insurance companies can help you with all of that. If you use a service bureau like mine or any others, they have something called pay-as-you-go, and that each time it's whatever the rate is, each time you process the payroll, they take out this certain amount. And then the end of the year, you don't have to worry and get an audit. There's no audits with pay-as-you-go. That's the great thing about it. And it actually controls your money a little bit. Someone else had a question.
Yasmin asked, as an LLC owner of a small business with no employees, should I get 1099 or W-2?
If you have no employees and you're an LLC, you can get 1099. There's no problem. Just get regular business insurance, especially if you're in a storefront. Do you know what I mean? It's people come and visit you, clients visit you. You need regular insurance.
So the 1099 or W-2 question is really when you have employees other than yourself.
Yes, yes, that's when you need workers' comp. But you really have to be very careful how you classify the people. And the most important thing, if you're giving lots of direction, they are not considered a 1099. They're a W-2. And if you ask your CPA or accounting professional, they will tell you the same thing. And that's the problem that small businesses are having right now. How do you classify them? What do we do? And that's important.
And we may also look at this from the other perspective. If Yasmin is a small business owner, as she says, and whatever version of business she has, in this case, she's an LLC, when she has clients, she gets paid a 1099
Correct.
from her clients. So when she works for people, if she has a service business, as an example, like I do, I teach people how to do social media. Okay, I get paid a 1099. It's my understanding when you are a corporation, companies lately have been giving 1099s anyway, but when you're a corporation, not an LLC, you don't have to be given a 1099. You're supposed to be automatically reporting that information.
If you're a corporation, everyone are employees. There are no 1099s. But there's such a variance, and you have to be very careful about misclassifying, not paying people the overtime they need. New Jersey is just watching all this stuff more than I've ever seen. And I'm doing this in New Jersey over 30 years. And sometimes they go door to door, which I've never seen them do besides the shore. So, and they actually go in and ask you these questions. Are you paying taxes? Who are these employees? So exposure is one thing as well. And it's very important to know. And I know that everyone's working with an accountant to ask the accountant that question as well. Now, if and on 1099s, usually you give a 1099 if they make more than $600 a year. That's usual. That's important also.
But I was talking about from the other side of it.
Yeah,
So myself as a business owner, okay, I don't have employees,
right.
okay? I get 1099s from my clients.
Correct.
Okay, so I think that's what Yasmin is asking, as her clients, the people that she works for and she provides services for, will give her a 1099.
Yes, they will.
Okay,
Good question.
so I don't think there's any other questions. Nancy, do you see any other questions? I don't see any.
No,
Okay, so I don't know if anybody wants to open it up. One of the things, Sharon, that I get all the time is, no matter what you're doing when you're doing work for another business or for an individual, you have to fill out a W-9 form.
Correct. So if you're an employee, you have to fill in an I-9 and a W-4. And if you're a 1099, you have to fill out a form also. You want to do it properly so that there's no question asked. And the end of the year, you would get a W-2 or a 1099.
so I have a client who has individuals who work maybe 8 to 10 weekends a year. And so they're not having regular paychecks. And they're basically, it's a wedding planner. They're basically attending the wedding and just helping through that day of wedding. And so it seems to be somewhat of a mixed bag from a standpoint of they're doing just assigned weddings, and it's not a regular situation where they're working, 10 hours a week or anything like that. Would that be a possibility for using 1099?
Okay, let me tell you what I just put on. I did a promotion place. My friend owns a promotion place for events. So she does children's parties, adult parties. They get dressed up as a princess or whatever. And they only work weekends. And sometimes it's regular people that come. They're all on payroll. She puts them on payroll per accountant and me. She's not doing, she was paying cash before. She's growing. she has them on payroll. So it's the same thing. They dress up for a party, whatever they do, they should do that. Because otherwise, are you giving, usually it could be college kids, high school kids. They should get a W-2. That's not a 1099 because they're directing them what to do on each, or what to wear on each location.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
this-
that direction is a different criteria. So
Right.
that's a big criteria of if you're directing people, if you're instructing them, they're not working on their own or independently.
Right. That is really the key to the whole thing. If you're giving them direction or you're telling them to wear a princess outfit or whatever, you are directing them, they are 1099s. And she does, I mean, lots of parties during the weekends, and she pays them weekly, but they are a W-2 now.
So they would just get 0 paychecks.
Well, the idea is this, with any payroll service you do, if you run weekly or bi-weekly, let's say, and you have 5 employees, but only 2 work this week because they're part-timers, you only pay 2 people. If the other people you just don't have to pay the employees, and it doesn't count towards your fee at all.
Thank you.
So then in that case, the payroll service or whoever you're using to do the payroll will deduct the taxes, the insurance, the social security, anything else that you have to pay out to different organizations, different
Correct.
to the government, really.
Mhm. Someone just
Yeah.
joined us.
Hi, Sharon. Jane.
Hi.
So it's very tricky for small business when you're just starting out, and you might need some help along the way. It's very difficult to put employees on the payroll because of all the additional expenses you have to incur.
I understand. So let me tell you what my girlfriend owns. My girlfriend owns a clothing store in our house, a boutique. And she hired someone from college, and she's pays them every other week. They may work 5 hours or work 20 hours, but to do it the correct way. She's running a business at a boutique, directing this young person who's adorable. I work with them. But she's directing them what to do on a daily, put on the web, do a newsletter. They are W-2s.
There's kind of no way around that.
No, and my service bureau, and I'm not talking mine versus other ones, 1 to 5 employees is the same price. So we understand in payday, we're a boutique, and we understand small business, how much it is. So 1 to 5 is with employees and direct deposit. So it's easy. And then the employer doesn't have to, and all the service bureaus, the employer doesn't have to be home. The direct deposit goes right into the employee's check on check date.
So now a cleaning service, I have someone who's starting a cleaning service and is hiring contractors to do the work. He's not necessarily directing them. He's telling them to go clean Joe Blow's house,
Right,
but he's not really telling them how to do that.
right.
Then they can be a 1099.
Right.
You're breaking up.
And using the
You're breaking up on my end.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
can-
accent. Okay, am I okay now?
Yes,
Yes?
yes, you're back.
Okay, it was just unstable. That was, so my cleaning service takes all her girls. I have 5 women that come to my house, and she drives them. She works with them. They are W-2s. They're not 1099s. Because she's driving them in her vehicle and working with them completely different.
Right, right. This
So-
one is less supervision.
Right.
So what makes the difference then? How does an employer know somebody who is a small business owner. So you have two cleaning services. They operate a little bit differently. One is paying people as a 1099 and the other one's paying people as a W-2.
If
So does
one
the
is-
accountant make help make that decision?
Well,
or
the
does-
CPA really would not. Yeah, I won't make that decision. There's two things. I tell them if they want payroll, they need to go on workers' comp and talk about all the taxes and the implications, because you can't have just cash given to these people. They have to make sure they have social security cards and not green cards and not tin. They have to ask questions, but if they're directing them, so I have my cleaning service that comes with her 5 girls for an hour and cleans, they are on my payroll because she's directing them correctly. If she tells them it's this one job and you're going each week and she's not directing, she's not driving them, she's not paying for it, then it's a 1099. But I would always ask a CPA, because I have never seen so many CPAs call me during the season and say, please put this person on. They put them as 1099s and they shouldn't be. Or I'm paying too much money as an LLC and I need to be an S Corp so I'm making too much money as an owner and I'm paying too much. I need to be a W-2. So I've seen so many different variations to this, but they're all good questions. And I always ask everyone who's their CPA.
Right.
And if they don't have one, I give them 3, because I think that's important that each company needs an account. Yes, people do it on QuickBooks. I'm not saying QuickBooks is bad, but I am letting you know, QuickBooks, they screw up all the time. I get clients and they don't pay. There's things around. Working with a CPA always helps you out. And I love to recommend, because I feel that's important. So I had this one client that was two clients that were setting up, and in the state of New Jersey, you can do cannabis payrolls, and because the law changed, and they didn't have workers' comp. And I said to the father, the owner, why don't you work? Well, we don't need it. I said, yes, you do. I called the accountant. I helped him out. He now has workers' comp, and he thanked me. So I really tried it with me personally. I'm not on a quarter. I try to do the best thing for the client. I really analyze each client. I try to visit them, or I do it over the phone and try to ask the questions to really get to the bottom where they are, what they're doing, and how they want to handle their payroll. It's really important. It's very different from years ago. It's not black and white anymore with the 1099. That's the whole difference.
So Sharon, when is it advisable to talk to a company like yours who is a payroll service? Okay,
Okay.
there's other companies out there, but companies like
There are a
yours,
lot of companies out there.
right? But
Mine is,
when does a small business owner need to understand that I need to get a service like that involved? I'm starting to have 1, 2, 3, 4 employees. I'm just starting out, or I'm just starting, to have that possible employee 1099 environment.
okay. I work with several CPAs in the South Jersey area and in central New Jersey. I get calls all day long. I'm sitting on 14 referrals now that clients are starting to open up a business, have 1 to 2 employees, and decide to put them on payroll. So I had a CPA, it was a law firm, and has 2 employees, and she was doing it manually and estimating what taxes are for W-2. I turned around and I said, I will put you on payroll. I saved her at least a half a day work. Once it was all set up, they get on the phone with my client representative, or they call it in, and the checks come the next day directly deposited, and all their taxes. So it pays for the small company to be on a service bureau. And I'm just partial to mine. I work for the big companies, they're all good, but mine's a boutique and we're family owned and we care about our employees. And here's another reason why. Small, large employees, some of them had PPP loans. And then there is something called retention. And I've saved down the shore 1/4. He has 20 employees. He got $80,000. It is a fee involved, but there is retention with his money given back. So sometimes small companies who are using payroll can get retention back if they had PPP loans.
Yeah, there's a
That's
lot
what-
of emails coming out about that, about companies
Yeah.
advertising that you can have that. And a lot of the
Right. And
ESBA
we-
branches are advertising it.
Right, we do it automatically, so if it's one of our clients, we have 3,500 clients. We speak to clients and say, have you had a PPP? We ask them for the quarterly reports, the ones before they were using us and now. We do an estimate, we charge a certain fee if we can get the money, and 9 out of 10, we got money. I'm letting you know, listen, we got back $1.4 million to 3,500 clients. That's a lot of money, and this is all small business.
So you got
I'm letting you
involved
know,
in the PPP loan environment also?
yeah, yes, we were involved. So the biggest thing that I've learned, it doesn't matter how many employees, if they're on this, there were options for companies. If you were a 1099, you can't get any of this money because there was no way around it. But if you were a 1099 during the COVID, people got $600 unemployment as a gig 1099. I don't know if you're aware of that, Suzanne. During the COVID time, they were giving money for 1099s as well. So the government was
Sharon,
trying to help with them.
You brought up before, and I know at the shore and being in Jersey, near the shore, a lot of people have access to people that aren't necessarily citizens, people who aren't necessarily or coming in from other countries that are here to do summer help and to do summer interns. And you talked a little bit about some other criteria, not having a social security number, having.
But if they have a visa and a green card, we can put them on payroll. If they don't have a visa or a green card and you get a TIN number, no service bureau will handle it, can't handle it.
And what's a TIN number? I never heard of that.
I'm not even sure. I just know, like migrant workers who work in Hamilton picking the cranberries, they come in from Mexico and all over, and they're TIN, and they don't give them 1099 to W-2s. It's handled separately. So years ago, there were a lot of TIN numbers. We're talking years ago. We could put them on payroll. The government made a conscious effort to say, get a green card, get a visa, and you can pay your employee. You're not going to give someone a 1099, and sometimes they share. This is what I've seen down the shore and in Hamilton. They share social security numbers. So at the end of the year, you've done your part, and all of a sudden you mail out to someone's address and it comes back. It's not your fault. You did all your proper work. They're using people's social security numbers. You can't help that. It happens. It's very hard. You have that with Maryland, you have that in New Jersey, you have it during the Jersey Shore. But the students that come over and work the Jersey Shore do have green cards, and there's no problem putting them on payroll. Because they know the Department of Labor will walk the boardwalks, all the towns, Sea Isle, all the isles, Pleasant, it doesn't matter. They walk, Atlantic City, they walk all over because they know there's problems down the shore. But these are all good questions to ask.
So of the people that are on the call, if there's any other questions, we're going to wrap up in a few minutes. we'll go over the other webinars that are going to come out. Nancy, why don't you talk a little bit about the other webinars that the Central Jersey chapter is going to be putting on in the next month or so?
Sounds good, and appreciate Sharon's presentation. We have one in April. It's April 18th, and it's at noon, founding a charity in New Jersey. So if you are looking to establish a nonprofit, it's a good opportunity to hear the tips and tricks to be able to get through the process.
So Sharon, what would you like to say? And have you put your contact information in the chat room?
I
Over
did.
there, but we will send your slides out to everyone, so they'll
I
have
gave
your
you
full
my
contact
contact.
information.
First of all, I want to thank everyone. I love SCORE. I think SCORE is great for small to mid-sized businesses. It's helped some of our clients, especially in Napa, and my clients. I talk about it all the time. I thank you, Suzanne, Nancy, for allowing me to talk today. If anyone's interested in my payroll service, just give me a contact. Chad, I will always help anyone from SCORE.
I think it's Sharon really does a wonderful job in really trying to help you figure out if the payroll services is worthwhile for you. And as a small business owner, you don't know all the answers. You don't know everything. So give Sharon a call, send her an email, ask her if you should be doing that for your small business. I think it's very worthwhile. And Sharon, there's another organization that you're very supportive of that I think you should mention on this call, just to tell people about your NABO organization.
Well, let me tell you, there is NABO is in North Jersey and in South Jersey and in Delaware. NABO is National Association of Women Business Owners. We are 60 chapters strong through the United States. We have in South Jersey, we're Princeton, Gloucester, Burlington, Camden, and all the way down towards the shore. We have around 98 entrepreneurs, small, and 21 corporate sponsors, large ones. And then we have wonderful alliances like SCORE. Our website, I'll put it in the chat. Our website is NABO. Let me just put this in for you. NABO South Jersey.org.
And they're one of the partners of SCORE New Jersey, just so everyone knows.
Yes.
So we
So
do
if
recommend
anyone
that you investigate that a little bit if you're a woman business owner.
Right. If you're interested, you can call me up or look on the website. We have events each month. One of our alliances, which is exciting, is Alice Paul. She did women's suffrage. It's in Mount Laurel, and she has around 6 acres. And we're doing an event on April 18th. And anyone can come. Just give me an email or shout out. It'll be my pleasure to invite you. We do advocacy, we do education, and we try hard to work. So our banks like Fulton Bank and Wispas Bank work with us. We have a hospital called Jefferson Health, which was Kennedy before, work with us also. We have large South Jersey Radiology. We have large companies and we have small ones, New Jersey, American Water, and then we have alliances. So I'm very pleased that NABO, when I started being with Payday, I started NABO and I couldn't be happier. It's a wonderful sisterhood and everyone cares. And it's small entrepreneurs that really want to help each other and support each other. So look at our website, you might be interested. And if you're really in North Jersey, I will send you the email for North Jersey as well.